across the planet, everyone who calls himself a Zimbabwean has come to the place where they say enough is enough. And if it means laying my life on the line to see a change that will benefit me maybe for 1 minute and hopefully a lifetime for my children, then that life must now be lived. Not anymore will we sit back and watch elected officials fatten their pockets whilst our hopes get slimmer. Not anymore we will live in crowded ghettos while our sweat pays for plush government mansions. Not anymore. Not anymore will we continue to work and earn tax dollars for our government to spend on endless foreign trips and trips for elected officials that fly to Singapore and Malaysia and Dubai for medical treatment while we are left to die in under-equipped state hospitals. What sort of hypocrisy is this? Yeah. I was told a story that resembles the way in which we deal with situations in Zimbabwe. A man became married and he used to love his drink. His wife said to him, as part of the conditions of the new marriage, she would require him to desist from drinking. Well, the young man agreed. After a couple of months, he went away with some friends. And whilst they were at the pub, he tried his best to resist, but eventually he gave in. And he had won. 1 became 2. 2 became 3. And then 3 became 4. As he left the pub, the barman looked at him and said, "I'm quite sure your wife said you must not drink." He looked at the barman and convinced him, tried to convince him, whilst he was half drunk, and he said, "What I would say, why now? I will not drink. I would drink when I get home. I am a genuine pastor." So the man put this bottle in his back pocket and off he walked. When he got home, just by the door, he stumbled, fell backwards, the bottle cracked and cut him in the hindquarters. He thought to himself, "How do I hide this from my wife? For she shall certainly see." And so he snuck into the house and snuck into the bathroom, where he proceeded to clean himself using the full-length mirror that was there. He carefully cleaned, he carefully put ointment, and eventually put on some plaster. Convinced he had done a good job, he went and jumped into bed. Early in the morning, his wife woke up, went into the bathroom, and came back screaming at the top of her voice. And she said, "You have been drinking, and yet I told you not to." He was surprised. How did she know? Because he felt he had covered it up so well. She called him into the bathroom, and this man, with a convincing face, looked at her and said, "I wasn't drinking. I wasn't drinking." She pointed to the full-length mirror, and right there on the mirror was all the ointments, was all the bandages, was all the plasters stuck in the full-length mirror. Because the man was so drunk. This is what our government has done to us. They fix wounds in the mirror. They place ointment on wounds that are in the mirror. And they come to bed with us and pretend that nothing happened. And when we wake up, they expect us to walk into the bathroom and see nothing wrong and walk out and say we didn't see anything. Not anymore. We see the wound. You have been drinking or lying down. We can no longer sit back and watch the children of ministers fly off to universities in America and Europe, Australia, and all these faraway places, while our state-run universities wither and crumble. We can no longer watch our brothers and sisters walk for miles because they can't afford 50 cents for a taxi, while the government buys its ministers $200,000 cars with our money. One of our cabinet ministers boasted in recent weeks when he was confronted about the use of state resources to buy himself and his deputy vehicles worth $200,000. And he said it is common practice. It is common practice, he said. He rationalized that when a country is broke and cannot pay its civil servants, it's common practice to spend $200,000 on luxury cars for himself and his deputy. Not that the ones they had were broken. He went on to say that, am I a garden boy? And the citizens of Zimbabwe are supposed to sit back and say it's okay. Many people have approached me and they've said, but sir, you are a pastor. Why would you say these things? Why would you rise up and say these things? Should you not mind your Bible?
Whose Bible?
First and foremost, before I was a pastor, I was a citizen. And if I vote, then I speak. And because I am a pastor, when issues of injustice arise, when issues of those that are voiceless, those that cannot stand up for themselves, when those people are being oppressed, I cannot justify my silence. How can I sleep well at night? When I drive home, I drive along a road which is named Robert Mugabe Road. I kid you not, this is a fact. Please hear me. This is not theatrics. I drive along Robert Mugabe Avenue at 7 or 8 p.m. And along that very road, on the pavements of that very road, not many other roads, that particular road, on the pavements at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., at 11, at 1 in the morning, on the pavements of those roads, I see old women lying on the street, huddling little babies that are not theirs. These are grandchildren with a blanket, and they're covering their vegetables. Not that they don't have a home to go to, but they didn't make enough profit to go home that day. So they have to sleep in Robert Mugabe Avenue. You tell me that it's okay to be quiet? Shame on you if you're a minister in our country. Shame on you if you're a leader in our country and that does not break your heart. Shame on you if you love Zimbabwe, if you can walk past an orphanage that has not received help from government for years. And citizens are the ones that have to put their monies together in churches, in societies, in families, and go and feed those orphans. Are they not our children too? Is this Zimbabwe not a country that we are building for them too? So why would we treat them like that?
No, it can't.
Why would we travel and we say we are from Zimbabwe? Why would you travel and be proud to call yourself a leader from this nation when you cannot care? When you cannot care for us. I rise up because I have children. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I have another on the way. And if I don't stand up right now, political inbreeding will make sure that the same system will abuse my children and will ravage the future of my children. And I am not prepared. He needs to leave Zimbabwe. He needs to get out. He needs to go away. And then they wrote and they said, no, he's gone to seek exile. Where? My country is Zimbabwe. That is my home. It is my home. I live there. If you're going to arrest me, you will arrest me at home. If you're going to kill me, you will kill me at home. If you are going to abuse me, you will abuse me at home. Nobody cares. Let me tell you something, my fellow Zimbabweans, citizens of other nations, nobody cares more for your nation than the citizens of that nation. And for years in Zimbabwe, we have been quiet. And it's not our fault, we've been afraid. We've been afraid. And it's true. But now we demand space. We demand space for us to build our nation the way that we want to build it. How is it that we watch young people of other nations get involved to build their nations? And we envy them. And sometimes, like I did on April 20, 2 days after independence this year, I looked at the flag that sits on my desk and I thought to myself, it feels like my own nation is standing in the way of my dreams, and I would rather belong to another nation. If I could get a chance to become the citizen of another nation, I would do it quickly. Because I love the way that they love their country. I love the way that their 25-year-olds start multi-billion-dollar businesses. Because I love their way that their 30-year-olds are involved in politics. I love their way that their 18-year-olds represent their nation in sports, in science, in arts and culture. In our country, you and I have gotten old waiting at the door of leadership. How do you justify somebody who calls themselves a youth and they're 40 years old?
Yeah.
So if you are a youth at 40, I speak with passion because I love my country.
That's alright.
For years,